Yo, what's up everybody? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going over my thoughts and impressions of the Xbox Games Showcase that just wrapped up not too long ago. And I wanted to give my just general thoughts on it, and of course get you guys' thoughts on it for those who didn't join me live in the chat. So first and foremost, this is not going to be a full recap of everything because they announced so much different stuff here, a lot of variety of games. So I'm just going to give a general just thoughts on the pacing and the flow, and then probably an overall grade at the end. So let's first start off with what everybody is talking about here, whether it's good or bad, and that is Halo Infinite. This was the standout game for me throughout this whole presentation because it's Halo, it's back. It feels like Halo 1. It looks like Halo 1, the tone, the style, some might even say the graphics. But we'll talk about that. But it looks good, man. I thought it was cool. It's 4K, 60 frames per second or something like that. It's more of an open-ended type of game to where you can travel different waypoints. It has that feel, right? Like when you're shooting the grunts and like you give them the nice little melee type of attack, like the sticky grenades. Everything just feels like the original Halo 1 and the original Halo 2 from the gameplay demo that they showed off. Now obviously I did not play the game, so I don't know how it actually plays, but it seems like it plays a lot like the original first like Halo 1 and Halo 2, which is a good thing for some, or maybe even a bad thing for others. But overall, it looks pretty good, and I have to buy it. I have to buy Halo Infinite. I think it's going to be a good game overall. Now, let's talk just a little bit about these graphics that people are discussing. And look, I know, I guess it doesn't look the best, especially when you have still shots. There are a number of screenshots that are going around online of like, oh man, look at this game, it looks like crap, or whatever the case is. And yeah, I get it, but for me, like, it's Halo, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to be about the smooth frame rate, and it's supposed to be about just like the gameplay. It's not about the graphics per se, because they're trying to do 4K 60 if I'm not correct, right? And they're also trying to make that run on all the different Xboxes. So that is the original VCR Xbox, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One SAT, of course, and the Xbox One, or the Xbox One X, plus the Xbox Series X. There's a lot of Xboxes. They have to make it run on all of that, so there's no way that you can sit there and just go all in if you want to have this as a great gameplay experience, 60 frames per second across the board. So there was definitely some things that they had to do to make sure that was possible, so I understand it from that standpoint. I'm not even a game developer, and I understand that, but I think the gameplay is going to be solid and it's going to be a fun game. But I understand when people talk about like, oh yeah, Series X, the most powerful system, 12 teraflops, and then you see that and you're like, oh okay, well wait a minute here, you know? So I get it from that standpoint, like I truly get it. But I think that like the loading times obviously are probably gonna be like non-existent on that game. The frame rate's going to be silky smooth like they mentioned, and I think it's going to be a really fun playing game. I know some people that are even big into Halo were a little baffled by the decision of what gameplay choice that they chose for the demo, but I think they wanted to show people that it was like, yo, this is back to the roots. And Phil Spencer even said this is a spiritual reboot of the Halo series. So for me, that was the standout game. That was the game that I liked the most, and I think that that's the game that I'm going to play the most out of all these games. Now, just to kind of generalize, to get into some other stuff before we kind of get into the pacing and the flow of the show, like all the other games that they showed like the Everwild, or they showed some of the other games, like a lot of this stuff had no release dates, and they have no point of reference for me to say, okay, I'm going to like this game or not, right? Like the Medium and other things, they all look great, but there's no point of reference. There's no anything for me to know if this is going to be amazing. Like the developers, I haven't been playing a lot of their games. Like even like that new Obsidian RPG, or even that new game Grounded and stuff like that. I mean, like I get it, but there's not a lot of point of reference outside of like Obsidian. I get that a little bit, right? Because you know it looked like Skyrim, but there's like no date, there's no anything on that at all. Like the Outer World stuff looked cool, but like a lot of this stuff was just like, hey, it's just there. It's something that at some point we're gonna see it. But I'm just like, okay, you know, a lot of the games, and I'm even struggling to remember some of the games that were announced. Like at the end of the presentation, they're like, oh yeah, we had like 22 console exclusives, and I'm like, whoa, there was 22. So I mean, it seems like there was plenty of content, and I'm sure that there was. Like there's going to be hundreds of games to play. There's going to be smart delivery. There's going to be Game Pass. They had so much Game Pass stuff. They had so many things. So I think that the show was good. It was packed full of games. There was a lot of exclusive stuff. There was a lot of stuff that people, Xbox fans, are going to like, but it lacked like the big, oh my gosh type of announcement. It lacked like the wow, you know, oh my gosh, like that's going to be crazy, or like crazy gameplay snippet of something that we've like never seen before or something. So let me give you guys something. Like, I really love Fable. You know, Fable is one of my favorite franchises of all time, and Fable's back, right? But like, yo, the fairy got yeeted, of course, the frog, like playground games, like we get that. It was rumored a while ago, but all we got was just like the little shot of the, we didn't even get any type of characters or anything, not even like a CG human or anything that we're going to be able to play as, and like obviously no data or anything. So that's great that it's back, and I anticipated it coming back, but there wasn't really much for me to go off of in terms of potential story plot, or what your character is going to look like, or is it going to be character creation, or is it going to be somebody that's standard? I mean, there just wasn't much. So I'm excited, I guess, but there wasn't really much to go off of from there. I mean, we got more from the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 trailer than we got from that. So while it was cool to see Fable come back, there's nothing else for me to go off of. And on top of that, like the last couple Fable games obviously haven't been the best, right? They weren't necessarily great. So I think that they're going to be like, I have confidence that Playground Games can make a great Fable game, but I need to see a little bit more to kind of boost my confidence, you know, some more over what we've already got. So that was great though. Fable, that was kind of like the surprise of the show. A lot of the stuff in terms of the other things in the show were just, you know, just games that are going to be there for people to play. They don't look bad, like the new Steam World game, or not the new Steam World game, the game from the Steam World Dig developers, Image and Form. They're making that game Gunk. That looks cool. I mean, but is that a game that I'm going to rush out there? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, Xbox Series X. I mean, not really, but it's still there. I'll probably check it out at some point. But a lot of these games, I'll just be honest with you guys, seems like it's going to go straight to my backlog if I pick them up, or Game Pass is just like, I'll play them for a bit, then never play them again. There wasn't really anything stand out for me outside of the potential of Fable at some point. Halo Infinite was that big game. They did have State of Decay 3, but the last State of Decay, I watched that looked like kind of garbage. They had like that, you know, the Life is Strange type of game. Nah, I'm good on all that, you know. So they had the psychedelic weird, what was it, Psychonauts. I'm good on that too. That's too many colors. I don't want all that stuff blasting in my eyes when I play a video game. So to me, it was a solid show with a lot of games that people are going to like. You know, there's a lot of variety. There was like a Warhammer and stuff like that. So it was a solid show. Don't get me wrong. It was a solid show. I think it was good. Just for me, it wasn't necessarily like something that I'm super excited about with all those games. But objectively speaking, which I think that in today's day, a lot of people aren't objective. They just say, what do I want? Give me what I want. And if I don't get what I want, even if there's plenty of stuff, it sucks, or whatever the case is, right? And I think that you can clearly see the effects of COVID. I mean, people try to say that there is none, but it's pretty obvious with all these first-party games and no dates and stuff like that, that COVID's affecting lots of things. It's not just Nintendo, or not just Microsoft, not just Sony. It's like everybody with this stuff here. Unless we start getting a lot of dates for this stuff, but it seems like it's going to be years and years and years down the line for many of these games that they're showing off already, which is fine. I guess it's something to look forward to, but I mean, I've got a million games that I haven't played at this point right now, you know, that like I can play right now, you know, so I'm not really worried about 3 years down the line or something like that, when there's a bunch of games right now that we can play, you know, on current gen or whatever it is, or games that are going to be coming out this fall that are smart delivery games, which I kind of more excited about seeing how those games play on the Xbox Series X than some of these announcements here, which is fine. It's not like, you know, not knocking the presentation for that. I'm just saying, for me, the games were just like, okay, it's cool. It's like a lot of games. It's a nice show, but nothing that really stood out that was like, oh my gosh, mind blowing, or like, I can't believe that's coming, or whatever it is. It lacked that type of surprise to me. It was just, like I said, solid, good show. But if I was to give it a grade, because, you know, we have to give it a grade, I would go ahead and give it a 7. I think it was average. I think it was average to good. So I give it a 7 out of 10. I don't think it was a bad show overall. I mean, I know how it could be bad for some people out there that are looking for that big surprise. But for me, maybe if they would have showed some more multiplayer of Halo Infinite, maybe if they would have showed like a boss battle, or something like that, like a big, like tough fight in Halo, maybe that would have pushed it a little bit higher for me. I'm pretty sure they'll have them in there, but maybe we need to see just a little bit more on Halo Infinite, especially since they were teasing it so much. And that's what we got from there. A little rough on that. And of course, Fable, it would have been nice if we at least saw like something with a story set up with Fable, maybe even like a character or two or something like that. I mean, outside of those two announcements, like everything else was just, like I said, okay for me. Nothing crazy. I don't care about like the medium as much as other people care about that game. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but we're going to have to wait and see on it. And everything else was just kind of like, okay, cool. You know, it's there. Game Pass. Great for those who want to sign up for it or whatever the case is. So, like I said, solid show. I think it was a 7 out of 10. Not horrible by any means. Not as bad as some people are trying to make it out to be. Not, oh my gosh, mind-blowing. And yeah, Series X, I think one of the issues with Series X and even with PS5 is that we have like a law of diminishing returns that is factual and people cannot deny that. We have PC gaming that's becoming more prevalent. We have the Xbox One X that's really powerful that showed off great graphics. We had the PS4 Pro. So we're just kind of seeing like right now a law of diminishing returns and other factors that didn't really play a factor into previous generations like we've seen before, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll get better as we go along, and once we start seeing some of these other advanced games that come about when they're not thinking about the current gen as much, I think things will improve. But overall, don't get me wrong, graphics were great, games look cool, just nothing too crazy for me. So what are you guys' thoughts when it comes to the Xbox showcase? Were you impressed by it? Would you think it was a good show? What's your grade? What's your letter grade, your number grade? So yeah, I think I said 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10 or C. There you go. 7 out of 10 or C. So good. Good. Not bad. Average to good. All right? Something like that. All right. I got an Xbox shirt on, so that makes up for it. All right, guys. That wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all the latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.